Now, welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Horse Lighting Takes. And let's get right to the news.
We are just getting dumps of Ahsoka information now because Disney doesn't know what to do. Well, seeing as the actors can't be doing press releases and talking on talk shows and things because the strike is still going on, Disney has just decided to keep making featurettes and additional little trailer things because they have to hype up the show on their own now.
Yeah, it's working, I think.
They're doing their best. They're using previously recorded information, little video segments and stuff, and combining it with people they can talk to.
Yeah.
But the newest one was brought to us by, IGN, I think that's where they gave it to, and it was 7 or 8 minutes long. It was kind of about the making of Ahsoka, kind of the behind-the-scenes things a little bit. Talked about how Ahsoka was originally, conceptualized, that the Clone Wars show was originally just going to be a Padawan with their master.
Not the Padawan, but the Master.
Yes.
AKA
Not
Anakin
the pair
and Ahsoka.
of them.
Yeah.
No. But George Lucas wanted Anakin to have a Padawan. He had cooked this all up in his head that giving him a Padawan would actually further his story, and I believe he was 100% correct.
Well, what's interesting is he furthered the whole kind of story of Star Wars, right? Mm-hmm. It's now way past Anakin and into a life of its own. Ahsoka has been. So that's really cool, too.
It is.
Which is why I'm kind of excited about the show, because we are now kind of seeing her move out of the shadow of Anakin. Instead of her just being a part of Anakin's story, she is now getting to tell her story.
Her story.
Yeah.
That is a big thing, because even when you saw her throughout Rebels, it was still her
shadow of
being
Anakin.
In his shadow. Yeah. He's gone now.
Gone entirely now. Anakin came back, he's gone. We're post Return of the Jedi, so that's all done with.
She's returning to previous commitments of saving Ezra.
Yeah. And finding Thrawn.
Finding out Thrawn is still a threat, trying to warn the galaxy, and if they're not going to help, then we'll get in the gang back together.
Let's put that Rebel
Hera,
crew.
Come on, Sabine. Let's go.
Chopper.
Of course.
Don't forget about Chopper.
Can't not bring
What
Chopper.
about a certain guy named Rex? What do you think?
I think he's going to be in there. Even if they just visit him and he's really, really old and can't go on the adventure.
What do you mean he can't go on the adventure?
In Battle of Endor,
he's there. He's doing his
there,
thing.
But he is older, and clones age fast. They have accelerated aging.
Not Rex.
No. Yes, Rex, just like all the other clones, has accelerated aging. He might be to the point where he's nearing the end stages of a clone's
he's still got it.
quote-unquote expiration date, as the
Kaminoans expiration
would put
date?
it.
You are so
That
cold.
is how the Kaminoans would have put it.
I should just call you Emperor Naboo. But no, you're right. He is probably 5 years post Return of the Jedi. He's probably getting up there in clone years.
In clone years, yes.
Yeah.
He might still want to go on the fight, but I don't think she's going to let him. Maybe she's going to tell him, you need to stay back here and start amassing an army or something.
We need your DNA and we can get started.
But you know what I mean.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It was interesting. We got a couple of sequences, little shots of things we haven't seen before. I liked hearing how Dave wants this to be like a generational story. We start with Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon trained Obi-Wan. We all saw it on the screen.
We did.
We saw Obi-Wan train Anakin. We saw Anakin train Ahsoka. She is the only person alive who was trained by Darth Vader.
No, she wasn't trained by Darth Vader.
I can say it that way, though.
You can't say it that way because she was never trained by Vader.
All right. But the only person who was trained, by Anakin Skywalker, one of the greatest Jedi to have existed in Star Wars.
Yeah. No, it is cool to see the lineage continue. It's kind of a shame that the other branch of that, the Luke branch, kind of comes to an end. I don't know that you can count Rey, not to get into a whole other topic, but I don't really count Rey as any kind of Padawan or apprentice of Luke. She was on the island for 2 days, and Luke's like, "No, I don't train Jedi no more. Here's 3 reasons why."
She's going to be learning mostly from books. She's a self-taught at this point, unfortunately.
Yep.
Because I wonder, when Ahsoka visited Luke, when we saw her in Mandalorian, could she have taught him anything about the Force? I mean, he
some tricks,
is missing some knowledge as well, and she did have formal training.
I think for sure he would want to pick her brain a little bit, right? About how do you do this? I mean...
So what's this thing about attachments? I don't...
You call us Padawans? Is that what you call your apprentices?
Do I have to call them Padawans?
Attachments are bad. That says that in the Jedi book thing, or what?
Yeah, the Jedi book said no attachments, but yet here I am.
Yeah,
what happened?
Wow, yeah.
There's
but no,
story.
I would certainly think Ahsoka would answer a lot of Luke's questions, or try to, or want to, or be very helpful.
I would like even a book rendition of what their meeting was like.
I want it in live action. I want Mark Hamill and Ashley Eckstein and everybody involved in this, Rosario Dawson, just merge them all together and give me a scene.
Give me a scene.
No, it needs to be somewhere. It needs to be told.
Yeah, but Ahsoka, it seems that they're implying is she's passing knowledge down to Sabine.
Who may be Force sensitive. We keep going back to this.
We do because they want us to.
Because it's an interesting discussion.
I've seen a lot of discussions on
this. It goes
this.
both ways. I've seen people for and against it.
Well, people are saying, think of somebody like Leia. She ran around the galaxy running into Force users who didn't pick her up. Again, the difference being how much time were they spending with her. I mean...
That's the point. I mean, Vader
Reva had her for a while. Vader had her for a while. Kenobi was with her for a while.
It's fair. It's
so
a fair point.
So if Kenobi realized she had Force powers, he still wouldn't have trained her,
let's not worry about the Kenobi and Leia meeting. Let's just...
I mean, she was hanging out with Luke for a while. Sometimes Force users hang around people and don't give themselves away. It's not something you can immediately pick out.
This is true. Mm-hmm. Perhaps there's some merit to that, sure.
But it was really weird, and I'm just going to say it because I know the Kenobi series is a full-on hot mess. When Reva spent 2 seconds with, oh my gosh, the name's gone, with the smuggler gentleman.
Pretend Jedi?
She immediately was like, you're not a Jedi.
Well, I think
tossed him aside.
I think she knew that just because of the way he acted. There was something about that. Not that she...
I don't know. I feel like you had to pick up more than that because Jedi can be showboating and arrogant, I suppose. If
Master Kenobi would be very disappointed. He would frown upon that.
But you know what I'm saying.
Be very grumpy. Yes, I do know what you're saying.
Just like Obi-Wan picked up immediately when he walked in on that situation, even though he had his little special effects and fake tricks, he knew he wasn't a Jedi.
Well, here's an interesting question. How was Obi-Wan so sure about Luke? Luke doesn't necessarily exhibit, other than being a great pilot and bullseyeing womp rats.
I think he just assumed he would.
Okay.
And figured you're out in the middle of nowhere, I can train you, whereas one of them is a high-profile child.
Sure.
But I go back and forth on the Sabine thing all the time. I feel like it's not going to happen because Dave wouldn't have... I don't feel like Dave would do it that way.
Well, my only issue when it comes to being around the Force sensitives and them picking up on it is she does literally train with a lightsaber with Kanan and Ezra, and they didn't, there was nothing there. You would think it would ever would have blossomed. Why did Ahsoka come upon her later and go, you know what? I'm feeling Jedi here.
I've seen people argue, too, that because the blade felt light at the beginning, and then she connected with it, and then she was able to wield it easier.
Yeah. I think there's good arguments both ways.
Well,
Don't get me wrong.
Bo-Katan's not a Jedi.
No.
It's about...
Neither was
the Force, the crystal, the Kyber crystal, choosing them for different reasons.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people wielded Darksaber. It's a little different than other Jedi weapons.
Sure.
Bo-Katan is not Force sensitive.
Not yet.
No, not ever.
Maybe if Ahsoka got a hold of her. No. I sense something in you. Yeah, they've met before.
Because there's a line at the end of this newest thing here that I think people are gonna latch onto. It's just Ahsoka, and she says there's nothing easy about being a Jedi. Contextually, we all think she's talking to Sabine.
Sure, seems to be.
It makes sense. Now, this, again, can be taken either way.
Well, it could be her saying, this training's going to be hard. It's a hard life, as a wise Jedi master once said in Qui-Gon Jinn.
Mm-hmm. Saying that the life of being a Jedi is not easy. But it also could be, we saw the scene of her training with Sabine. Sabine's knocked to the ground. What's to say Sabine didn't, turn on her and go,
it's easy for you.
It's easy for you, you're a Jedi. And what the retort is, there's nothing easy about being a Jedi.
Yeah, it could be.
So it's, again, they're kind of just leaving this really open-ended. The what is it, isn't it? I think it's still going to be a no.
Well, what kind of backs it up a little more now is what Dave Filoni's talking about, the passing on of the knowledge and the training, and he kind of goes through the lineage, as you were talking about earlier, and says, now Ahsoka is training Sabine.
Another question. Ahsoka wouldn't train Grogu.
I have pointed this out to people, and they don't like that answer.
She didn't want to train.
Yes, because of attachments.
Why wouldn't she send Sabine to Luke?
Well, her big problem with Grogu is attached to Din, a.k.a. the Mandalorian. And here is Sabine pining for,
For Ezra.
For Ezra. Clearly very attached to Ezra, attached to other members of the Ghost crew.
Mm-hmm.
Why is she training her but wouldn't train Grogu and was kind of opposed to that idea?
It's because Sabine is not learning to be a Jedi exactly. She's not learning the Force. I really do believe she's learning how to fight against people with the Force.
Yes.
Yes, they're always going to have an advantage because of the Force, but the Mandalorians had war. They fought Jedi.
Yeah.
They did okay. Yes, they did not win, but they held their own very well.
Well, it also could be that she is, to a degree, Force sensitive. It's the Chirrut from Rogue One thing. Like, he's got a little bit, a little stronger than most people. Because, everybody is, yes, everybody's got the Force in them.
To some extent.
Yeah, but maybe she's got a little bit of extra that makes her, we can teach her the ways of the lightsaber. She can maybe kind of hold her own against Force users in saber combat. It could be something as simple as that. Or she's full-blown Force sensitive and it's Jedi Knight Sabine Wren.
Never. No.
Never.
I just don't feel like Dave would do that with his own character.
Possibly. We'll have to see.
I don't feel like he would retcon his own material.
Well,
he only retcons other material involving his characters.
I don't know that he'll look at it as a retcon. He'll cite Luke and Leia and say, they weren't exactly exhibiting signs right away either.
But it's so different when somebody is literally watching the Force training.
Yes.
Like, if I was watching somebody learn magic, you don't think I'd be back in my room later like, maybe me? Maybe. Come on, everyone did. Everyone
would.
Do.
Still try it.
Everyone would. If you saw, literally if you saw a Padawan being taught by a teacher, you don't think you'd try, that you'd listen in on the lectures, especially in a small ship like the Ghost, that you'd listen in and maybe think, let me try this. I can do this, maybe.
Sure.
You'd at least give it a little shot. And
well, it doesn't mean you're going to pull it off, though.
No, and if you don't pull it off, you're probably like, okay, well, maybe that's not for me.
Yeah, but maybe you are, but
they
couldn't pull it
felt you
off.
trying...
Yeah, reaching through the Force.
Yeah, if they feel you reaching, feel you trying, wouldn't Kanan pick it up? I mean, he picked Ezra up that way.
He did. See, that's the thing. Like, Kanan, sensed Ezra.
Mm-hmm. He did.
So, yeah.
But we'll find out soon. We've got a little over a week to go now.
Yeah.
And then we'll know. And then, well, we may not know, but we'll get some answers, I'm sure.
1 week from tonight, essentially. All right, well, for now, though, that's all we got for you this time. So now it's your turn to take to the comments below and tell us what you think about any and all of today's news, and let's talk some Star Wars. And so until next time, thanks for watching.